Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice.
So welcome to Impact Mindset. This is the podcast for entrepreneurs and professionals, bringing you the best ideas and people to grow your startup in today's marketplace. Each week, we deliver interviews, tips, and tools to inspire, train, and support you in your entrepreneurship journey. Today with me is Miss Christelle van Amsterdam. Christelle van Amsterdam. Christelle is Senior Business Development Consultant at the Bourgeon Agricultural Company, a Nigeria-based integrated agricultural company with offices in the Benelux, Germany, and other parts of Eastern Europe. Before then, she has served as information technology recruitment consultant at the FMS Group and various other roles, both in sales, recruitment, and business development. Welcome to the show, Christelle.
Thank you very much, Ronald. Thank you for having me.
It's good to have you. And would you briefly tell our audience something about yourself, your personal background, your professional background?
Yes, of course. My name is Christelle. I'm Cameroonian. Dutch Cameroonian. I moved to the Netherlands at the age of 8. Obviously, I did my studies here in the Netherlands. I studied marketing communications. And I got into entrepreneurship really young. At the age of 21, I had my first company with my ex, and we ran it for 3 years about. I learned a lot during those 3 years, made some profit, and then from there on, sometimes you have the failure or lessons, as we like to call them.
Lessons.
Yeah, that was a huge lesson. I mean, I learned about starting up a company, the process, what you should avoid as well, the risks you should avoid, and basically how you could start your business and reduce risk at the same time. So quite some lessons there. And, from there on, I moved on. I wanted to get into the environment of, like a working environment, get experience as well, because I thought that it was important to also update my skills, which I did. So I started at FSM Group as a recruiter, where I learned many things. I gained my confidence back as well. After a crash like that, after having had a business and experiencing such a crash, you kind of get into a dip. So then when I got into FSM Group again, I regained my entrepreneurial spirit, and it became more clear to me as to what I wanted to do in the future and where I wanted to head to. But I decided to just stay in the company for around 2 years. But in the meantime, last year, 2019, let me check, when was it? About January, February about. I got in touch with Wale Ojo, who's my business partner in Bourgeon Agricultural Company. And he reached out to me saying that, yes, I might have something that's very interesting for you, a role that you could fulfill within my company. And I was like, okay, well, let me hear about it. What is it?
Right.
So we had a phone call, and he told me about what the business was about, how long he has been building it for, what he needed from people, specifically from myself. And then from there, we started building the company, started recruiting people, but obviously before working and, expanding his network in Nigeria, but he wanted to expand in Europe as well. So that's really the reason why he got me on board. And since then, we've been optimizing the entire strategy from A to Z, optimizing the way of working as well, adopting some structure within the company, very well needed. So that's what we did. And then from there on, that's how we basically came to the point whereby we're ready to export. So yeah, a lot of trial and error, of course, because he was used to working in a certain way. Yeah, he was used to working in a certain way, and working in Nigeria and working with Europeans is quite different. And also finding synergy between both worlds is quite a challenge. So finding a way to communicate with the other side and trying to making them understand what you want to do and how you want to do it, and what you would basically really need them for is quite a challenge. But we managed because my business partner is Nigerian himself, so he understands Nigerian, and from my perspective, I understand Europeans and their mindset. So that it's basically one of the best partnerships that I've had so far, and that I've had as well so far. Yeah, because we complement each other very well, and very grateful for that.
Oh, that's good to hear. And that leads me to wondering what led you to deciding, listen, you don't want to get into the private sector, more or less, you don't want to get into employment after your graduation. That sort of got you into entrepreneurship and starting on your own. You said with your partner at the time when you started the company. My question is, what prepared you for that? Was it something that you just felt like you did not want to be employed after school, or it was something that you had always thought of doing?
I was always entrepreneurial. So I never really saw myself working for someone for my entire life. And so this was my number one ambition, which is the reason why I took the opportunity to get in entrepreneurship at such a young age. Right. So yeah, I mean, that's happened. It just happened. It wasn't something that was forced or whatsoever. It came really natural. I didn't have to think about it twice. Yeah, and I'm an opportunist, so if an opportunity presents itself, then I like to take it. So
yeah, of course, that's a great entrepreneurial mindset, right?
Yes, sure.
And it's something that I see that challenges are sometimes solutions come in the guise of challenges. We think that they are challenges, but they are opportunities actually, because the challenges offer possibilities for opportunities.
True.
Yeah. And of course, with this opportunity at Bourgeon Agricultural Company, you mentioned something about the synergy between Africa and the European market. That's a very interesting aspect. What are some of the key elements that you have been introducing and working together with your business partner in Nigeria to sort of bring that kind of synergy in this sector?
Well, first of all, when you start working with someone, you need to find a common ground, kind of like same vision. Yes, that's very important. So we found that quite early, and we understood that we both want the same thing. We both want the same thing for Africa. We both have the same vision as well for Africa when it comes to the agricultural sector. So basically from there on, what really needed to happen was structurizing the way of working.
Right.
So putting structure in place and truly understand what was going on in Africa at this point, Nigeria specifically at this point when it comes to our business. What the partnerships look like. Is there some kind of system in place as well? So all of this, also when it comes to sales, okay, what has been, how have you been doing the sales so far, with whom, and who have been in charge of the legal work? So you need to understand, like, okay, in Africa, what I notice is that most of the time there's really a system in place. People just work based on trust. A lot of paperwork was lacking. Here in Europe, we like to work with systems. We like to put everything on paper. We like to, administration is very important as well. Especially also, many startups don't pay attention to this, especially
it's just about really getting things done, so they really don't bother about some kind of
just
systems.
getting started. Indeed. But if you want to get to a certain stage, if you want to scale up as a company, you need to make sure that processes are put in place, there's a system, sure administration is well arranged as well. When I speak about administration, it's not only financial administration,
Right.
it's also all the other paperwork, business. So I've looked at all of this. When I got into the company, I just noticed that a lot of links were missing, and that's what we've been working on so far, basically. So at a certain point, when you start putting those systems in place, and you start to understand how you want to work, and it becomes all clear, because you need a clear vision, you need a clear you need let's say a clear path. Correct. Right? You need a focus, and that focus was also the focus was there, but the strategy around the focus wasn't in place, not specifically. Okay, so my business partner knew what he wanted to do. He knew where he wanted to head to, but the let's say that the deals that he was having or that he had was, all of them were like based on trust. And I told him, this is not the way that you can work in business. So you need to have something on paper somehow, even though it's in Africa. We need to have clear agreements with these people. So basically, we've been working on that, working on clarifying, let's say, the deals with all our suppliers, and also, with all the stakeholders within the company. And I think that's, from their side, they are also appreciated, because eventually we're all people and we need certainty.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't want everything being done on ad hoc basis.
Yes, exactly. So these are some points that I noticed, when working with Africans as well, is that they work a lot on WhatsApp. So they communicate a lot on WhatsApp. So a lot of documents are being shared on WhatsApp. Emails aren't really being used that much. So this is
why is that?
Because of network problems. So WhatsApp is easy. If you want to share a document, you just send it on WhatsApp, and they receive it more easily than on an email. So this is also something I experienced a lot during calls. You just notice fails, or during a Skype call, or Zoom meeting, or a Zoom call. So when you work on a distance, the best thing when you work with Africans, or let's say where there's not a great network, then the best communication is through WhatsApp, and audio as well, not video, because video
the bandwidth.
Yeah. It takes more Mbits as well. So these are just a couple of things I noticed. I feel like there are still a lot of issues in Africa. There's a lot of things that need to be resolved, especially when it comes to power and energy. Yeah.
What could some of that be? Yeah, what could some of that be? Because in terms of technology in enhancing agricultural productivity, I did a bit of reading in terms of what the company does. How are you guys bringing that together in terms of using technology? WhatsApp, you just mentioned this, which is something that we can take for granted at times here, in terms of how that can enhance the process of agricultural productivity in itself, or the collaboration between workers and employees. What other technological tools are you guys using to enhance what you do?
Well, at this point, we don't use a lot of technology in our company, to be honest. We are planning to do that in the future. However, you also need to educate people, especially the farmers, and many suppliers that we work with on how to work with these systems, because they're not used to it. Correct. A lot of it is paperwork. A lot of it is still offline. So it was first start with education from our side. It's still focused. So technology. Mainly WhatsApp. That is our main mode of communication, and email. Once in a while, mainly WhatsApp.
And I see you guys are expanding quite a lot. In Europe, you are based in Germany, as well as Belgium, and of course Luxembourg.
Yeah, so we're not based in those countries, but we do business with those countries,
Oh, I
let's say.
see. Yeah,
So
yeah, of course.
yes,
Yeah.
so we have our buyers there in those countries, and a lot of work that I do is remotely. So I don't need to be in that country. I can call from everywhere.
Well,
So that's
especially
is
now with the lockdowns and the COVID regulations, anyways.
yeah, it's just perfect. I think COVID gave us an opportunity to, let's say, experiment a lot, also test the grounds. Currently, my business partner himself, he's in Nigeria, so it allowed him to basically do a lot of field work. And it has been a preparatory year for us, 2020. So 2021 is for us is really all about action and putting into place or putting in the work now.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Sort of implementing some of the ideas and plans you developed last year.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. Within entrepreneurship, say entrepreneurship within the agricultural sector, that is an area the company promotes, right? In terms
Yes.
of bringing more innovative ideas in terms of our agricultural sector. What are some of the key elements that are being promoted by the company in Nigeria, for which aim is to increase productivity for export to Europe? What are some of the areas that you're working on?
So basically, the way we work is that we have a partner network of highly experienced individuals within the industry who have been working in the industry for many years, anywhere from 10 to 30 years. And with our partners, we trying to smoothen the entire supply chain process. So we communicate directly with them. So they work with us. Sometimes what you see within companies, especially with big companies, that they handle the entire supply chain process. But because we're still quite a small company, we utilize the knowledge of others in order to export the goods or to do business basically in Nigeria.
Yeah, you mentioned the supply chain network. That's one of the areas that really reduces African trade, or even within the country itself, within the national borders. Is this an area for which you are looking at how you could enhance it and see how that can that some of the products and some of the crops that are being harvested are kind of effectively being distributed? Is this an area that you are looking at as well?
Yes, as a company, it's something that we're looking at to develop in the future as well. Because at the moment, a lot of roads are very risky and bad as well to transport the goods. Goods can be lost in the process just because there are holes in the road or whatsoever. So but also because of other elements such as rainfall. It's not like the roads in Europe, so it's not highly developed, and but these huge projects, it's not only
because the main farms are in the local areas, right? The rural areas.
Yes. So they're mostly indeed. But one of the main things that strike me most is the illiteracy of farmers and also their financial situation. Very bad. It's very bad. Most farmers used a lot by middlemen. So that means that, for example, if I'm a middleman, I go to the farmer, I want goods, but I don't pay for them at that moment. I tell them I'm going to pay you in 30 days or 60 days. And then they will never receive their money, but they gave me the goods, whereby they basically lose that money and the goods as well. So they've been used a lot in the supply chain. And the other thing is that they don't know how to handle their finances. And this is a big problem. This is a big problem because I believe that if a lot of farmers would know how to, would have some financial literacy and understand more about, how to save and, also to leave something behind for the next generation, that things would be better for for them, but also for the environment, and it would also enhance other aspects as well when we talk about the supply chain. So
correct. Yeah, I'm getting you.
Yes, they feed the world. So if we want to do something about it, it should start with the farmers. We should educate them. We should teach them about financial literacy. We should teach them about what their product is worth on the international market. We should teach them about how the supply chain truly works and what is going on behind their backs. And that's also one of the reasons why with Bourgeon we want to eliminate the middlemen, because there are various middlemen. You can imagine that a product, for example, can start at 96 cents and it will end up with a price of 3.26, for example. Yes, just because all those middlemen are adding the value to the product because of the service that they're providing. So this has been a huge problem, I believe, in the the agricultural scene, let's say, in Africa.
Yeah, in Africa, in all of the regions.
Yeah,
yes.
But not only in Africa. I mean, you also see it in South America. You also see it in India. A lot of third countries, and I think that this is something that we should really work on in Africa. It all starts with the farmers.
Right. The point about providing financial literacy to the farmers, I think that's a very key aspect to it, so that they have a key understanding of what is going on in the market, what is their worth actually of the products that they produce. Because most often, if they don't even know the worth of it, they don't care about where it ends sometimes. And because
they don't. And the worst thing about this is that they compromise a lot. So because 1 month they could have enough cash flow, and then another month they won't have anything. So if you then come to them and propose them a lower price than they're used to, then they would accept it because they need the money.
Right.
Very short-sighted. They don't think about long term. They only think about now. I think that this is a very huge problem because, I don't, not only in the agricultural scene, to be honest, in Africa, also other sectors, but I believe that we should think long term. We should plan long term. If we do this, then, we will be able to, develop the country or develop the continent on many fronts.
Right, because the thing is, like you mentioned, it's not only once you develop one aspect of what the farmers do, it affects all other aspects. Say, for example, if you are training them in financial literacy, that not only helps them in understanding how the market works, that also helps them in other areas of their life, in managing their own personal finances, and being able to budget for themselves and their family.
Exactly, but not only that, it's also about the next generation, because one of the main issues in agriculture is farmers. The new generation doesn't think, farming is an interesting profession. So what they do is that they move. They don't think it's interesting. They don't think it's lucrative. They look at their, grandparents and their parents, and they're like, well, you live in a poor way. You're not rich. Most of them, they want to go to the city and have more opportunities, so that obviously they can provide for their families in a better way than their parents could or their grandparents could. So they're trying to break like this generational chain. But one thing that I believe that, most young people should understand is that there are a lot of opportunities when it comes to agriculture, but you just have to seize it. You just have to take the risks. Most of the aging farmers, they are not literate.
Right.
They can't read. Most of them. You can't even read or write. But the new generation goes to school, they can. So if with their knowledge, they would go into agriculture, I believe that we could increase not only production, but also we could also better the reputation that Africa has around the globe when it comes to the international export. So we need the next generation. That's one of the main keys in the agricultural scene.
How are you guys using that within your company? How are you integrating the young people into the sector? Is there a specific strategy you are working with?
So basically, a strategy that we're implementing is, first of all, to having a lucrative business. That's number one.
Oh yeah, of course.
Proving,
it needs to be
proving
profitable.
to the young generation. Yeah, it needs to be profitable. So, proving to the young people in our team, because we have some young people in our team,
Correct.
Legal team, yes, to our financial controller, everyone is under 30, at least under 40, most of them. And then, of course, we have a team in Nigeria as well who host more experienced people in the field. They're way more older. But the way we basically motivate them is by showing we're a lucrative business, we're profitable. From there on, that's how we want to motivate them. You have to prove it to them. It's that simple. But I think it's with every
proof of concept
industry.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, indeed. So that's how we're doing it at this point. We have a big plan for this in the future. When it comes to educating the youth, not educating, but integrating them, into the agricultural sector. So we have plans for this, but you need a track record first. And the track records could range anywhere between, everyone has a certain goal, but we have our own revenue goal. And then from there on, we'll, our plans, yeah.
Are you guys thinking of doing urban farming? Because I can imagine that as an innovative company, that's something that you definitely are looking at, right?
No, we're not looking at that yet.
Oh, not yet.
No.
Yeah, but you mentioned blockchain technology. Why not, if I might ask? Is not something you guys look at as a priority right now?
Yeah, for us, it's not a priority yet, because one of the things that I noticed as well, when it comes to this sector or the sector that we're in specifically, is that you need to start with the basics.
Right.
You really start with the basics, because what is the point of starting a rural, getting into rural agriculture if the people don't even understand, what their product is worth and how you can market it and how you can produce it to a finished product and export the finished product as well eventually, because I feel like it's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
The amount that, for example, Nigeria on its own is importing in terms of finished products. When it comes to chocolate, for example.
Oh, wow.
It's ridiculous. Why would you import a product that you have the raw material of in your own country? Why not producing it yourself? Same with petrol. Europeans are buying it, refining it, and then they're selling it to Nigeria. Why wouldn't you?
Is Nigeria buying petrol?
Yes.
Wow.
Because it needs to be refined, yes.
Yeah, of course.
So it's not being refined. Most of it's not being refined in Nigeria. All the numbers you can find the numbers on OEC.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. To me, it's not logical that, a continent where most raw materials are being found, that they are buying the finished products of those raw materials. It's insane.
Is there are there specific government policies right now, say specifically in Nigeria, for example, where you're working now within the sector, where they're actually addressing some of these issues?
Well,
or where there's even support for what you're doing in terms of, making sure and ensuring that the local raw materials that is actually being processed in Nigeria, for example, let's say cocoa, for example.
Mm-hmm. Not that I'm aware of, really not that I'm aware of, but I know there's a small company in Nigeria who's producing chocolate, but it's still really small. It's still really small. It's not a big company like Cargill whatsoever. So there's still a lot of work to do. That's what I know.
Right. And that is something that is quite common on the continent.
Yes, it is. It is. But I mean, I don't believe it's impossible, but it would just take a lot of time, because as I said from the beginning, it starts with the mindset. It starts with education. I feel like the entire continent needs a re-education. And then from there on, when that is instilled in them, when certain things become a habit, that's where you can start to make big changes, because we can keep on giving money to the continent. Or let's say that you want to start a project in Africa, you want to build a school. Why would you build a school if the mindset isn't right? The people don't see the value of that school. You see what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
It doesn't make any points. It's not logical. To me, it's not logical. To me, the logical thing to do is change the mindset, making people understand why a certain thing is important, what value it will bring to them. And then from there on, you can start together, you can start adopting the changes. It's not the other way around. You can't come in, try to change something when people have no clue of why they would change something that they've been doing for I don't know how.
Yeah, they don't see the need. They don't see any usefulness in that if they're not being educated in it. Yeah,
of course, they don't understand. I think it's with everybody. I mean, if let's say you're used to doing something, someone comes in your life and he tells you that, oh, well, you need to start doing something else. You need to change your life. The person will be like, what do you mean? I've been doing this for 20 years. It's been working fine.
It seems to have been working fine. So why would I need to change
it?
Yeah,
so why do I need to change it? What are you talking about? But if you show the person the value of that change and what it will do in their lives, so positively, the impact that it will have, then that person will be more open and more keen to, slowly and progressively make the change.
Yeah, absolutely. It's similar to some of the projects that have been undertaken on the continent by non-profit organizations. For example, they go to a village, dig a well, and well, people are excited about it. But as soon as the volunteers leave for Europe, they go back to using their old ways of obtaining water, because they haven't actually taught them how to manage the well. And it's something similar, right? You don't educate them in terms of understanding that the old ways of doing things do not work, or they work, but very limited. And this is the new way of doing it. And it's good that your company is looking at really educating people in terms of new ways of working. Let's segue to something else, right? How has been your experience in the workplace as an African woman? What has been your experience?
Also privately. And to be honest, I haven't really been paying attention to that. Because first of all, when I get into let me start differently. What I heard a lot early in the day, I think 4 years ago, I'm not sure if that's still the point of discussion, that basically a lot of African women or Black women, they said that I can't go to work with my natural hair. That is one thing. Yes, I heard that a lot. That was the excuse. Okay, so secondly, to me, it's like, if you feel like you can't go to work with your natural hair, then where is the bias here? Like, who is discriminating? You're insecure in the first place. So you're going in a working place being insecure, right? So I think that's where a lot of these biases come from, or a lot of discrimination comes from. Because I believe that if you have a certain mindset, if you're confident about yourself, that no one can actually really do you any harm. So that's why I think I haven't really been experiencing anything in terms of that. Of course, people might look at you differently, talk about you differently, but I think it all depends on how you conduct yourself. It really does.
Are the employers telling women not to come on with the natural hair, or is that something that they perceive that they are being told that? Because I would see that as some grounds for discrimination, right?
Yes. I honestly, I haven't delved deep into that because myself, I don't wear any weaves. I've always been like natural. So to me, I haven't really been diving deep into that conversation. But one thing that I read is that, maybe early in the days that women weren't allowed to go in with their natural hair and then started wearing weaves, but we're in the 21st century. Yeah, I mean, we're in the 21st
In case
century.
we forgot.
Yeah, in case you forgot. We're in the 21st century, and I believe that, you should be proud of who you are, of where you come from, and you shouldn't let anyone put you down or make you feel insecure. And we have been born in a certain way with certain characteristics, and we should be proud of them. Of course, sometimes if you want to change it or make yourself a little bit more beautiful, we use makeup. You can put on a weave, but that shouldn't be your primary look. Let's say primary look should be how you are as a person naturally. That's what I think, in my opinion.
Right.
So
Right, of course.
yeah. So I think it's really a mindset thing.
How is that?
So, well, if you feel insecure, you will project it, and people will treat you as such. It's that simple.
Sure.
If you feel confident, people will see it and they will treat you as such. So I think it's really a mindset thing. It's really what you're projecting towards the world and towards the people around you.
That's absolutely correct. And I think that for you, you haven't experienced that so much, right? Because you were born here, right? Were you born in the Netherlands? So you were born...
No, I was born in Cameroon. I came here when I was 8. So
when you were 8?
Yeah. So I experienced it in school. Yes, I did when I was younger because I lived in a village. So there was a lot of discrimination. Yeah. However,
more
later...
More or less because they did not know you well.
Indeed. So, but later in the future, I just discovered that it really depends on how you conduct yourself, how you feel about yourself. All of this, people sense it, people see it. So yes, if you're insecure, people will notice. And yeah.
I think that mindset has really helped you as well in your career through these years.
True. I truly believe in mindsets. It's not always easy, of course, because you need to put yourself in a certain state of mind. But mindset is very important, and being confident about yourself and what you want in life, and where you want to get to is very important. You can't always know how it's going to happen when it comes to your goals, but you just know that, okay, this is what I want, and this is how I'm, this is where I see myself, let's say, in a couple of years, and you work towards making plans for it.
What would be your advice to anyone starting a business during this time?
During this time, I think I could advise anyone, basically in every industry, to don't be afraid to start, number one, because it's a great time to strategize, to prepare. And if you're already in business, make sure to utilize your online presence a lot. Make sure to connect with other people online a lot. Make sure to attend online Zoom events and other online networking events, because they're out there. So that's what I would really advise people, to stay connected to others.
Yeah, and the thing is that with this period right now, every step towards developing a new business idea or sort of working on enhancing or optimizing the current business setup for growth, that really has to be done online in any case, more or less.
True. Marketing is getting more and more important, and we just noticed being online or having online presence, it's more crucial than ever.
Absolutely. I want us to go to something more lighthearted.
Okay.
Who are the three people? Who are the three people who have been the most influential to you throughout your career?
3 people throughout my career. Well, honestly, I've always been learning from like everyone, speaking some stuff from every single person.
Right.
You know, from very successful people, but also, you know, just people around me. But lately, I've really been looking at Busi Thembekwayo, you know, South African entrepreneur, Denlock. He's a very successful salesman. And, you know, Aliko Dangote, of course.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, kind of our role model for the business. So
That's a role model for all of us, I think, in every sector, right?
yes,
In
indeed.
Africa, yeah, definitely. We look at him and we know that, well, this is possible. That's possible to kind of
Indeed.
have that kind of a wide network of that kind of growth. It's possible throughout the continent.
Yes, indeed. I mean, you know, also if you look at other, you know, other companies, for example, you know, Card or Olva, you know, these companies that a lot of them, they started small, you know, and they went into Africa trying to find resources and opportunities, and from there on they grew exponentially. So you know, these are great examples of multinationals, and obviously our goal as a company is to become one in the future. So yeah, that's why, you know, ourselves will look up to them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that you guys are on the journey. You guys are on the path towards it. But especially with the kind of group that you are building, young, innovative, entrepreneurial-minded people, and those getting into the sector. The agricultural sector is quite huge.
It is. It is.
Yeah,
There's a lot of opportunity.
the
Yeah,
potential is
yeah.
there. So you're definitely good.
Sure. And I would advise a lot of, you know, young people to get into it. Surely, it's very lucrative, and there are a lot of opportunities. You know, in terms of collaborations, you know, there's still enough left on the cake in the supply chain, enough roles to fulfill as well. Um, so yeah, I would truly advise people to get into it. What can I say? It's very
Right.
lucrative. It's very experience. Yeah.
Yeah. What has been the biggest challenge in your career, and how were you able to overcome it?
To find a focus, number one, and yeah, to get back on my feet after a failure. It's quite challenging. It's very challenging, you know, because when I was younger, I started, let's say, started in the entrepreneur scene at the age of 17, actually. So
Right.
that's why I started doing network marketing.
Network
And then,
marketing. Which one did you join?
yeah, ATN.
AC.
I was
Yeah.
too young. I was too young at 17. I know. But you know, I learned a lot through that. And you know, but one of my challenges was really to find a focus, because you know, during network marketing you're working on a lot of things and, you know, trying to sell, but one main skill that I've always been developing is sales. You
Right.
know, one main skill that I've always been developing. So that in that aspect, in skill aspect, that was my focus. But in terms of industry, I really need to find, you know, one industry that I want to work in and stick to. And you know, now I found it. You know, I mean, agriculture would always be a very important sector in the world. I mean, people need to eat.
Oh yeah, that's a sector that will never go out of fashion, right? We're always out to eat.
Yeah, indeed.
That's actually a very brilliant way of seeing it. You know, you look at a sector that it's not possible to go out of need. That's where you focus on, because the possibility is quite huge in terms of
True.
innovation, in terms of the possibilities and opportunities within the sector is quite huge.
True.
Yeah. Coming back up after a challenge, I think that's something that is an entrepreneurial mindset issue, you know, in terms of looking at, well, it's a challenge, but there is a solution to it, or that there is an opportunity in the challenge. And that is the mindset that gets you up after you well, I don't like using fail, but after you face a setback.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it was a huge shock for me, you know, because after you know, because this is something as well that a lot of people don't know about me, but we made quite a lot of money. So
I'm sorry?
You know, I said a lot of people don't know that during that time, during my business, that, you know, I made quite a lot of money. So we had a huge revenue streams at that, you know, at that age, at such a young age. And when you when that's when, when you don't have that anymore, so when that is out of the question at that point, then you kind of get like this shock, because you were used to having a certain, and now it's not there anymore, so you have to start from scratch, and your entire life is just, you start from zero, literally start again from scratch,
Right.
and the debts that come, that the effects, so the debts of that business as well are small. So it's like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
Right, what now? How will I regain myself again? How will I get the strength again to get into business? Will I have the courage again to take the risks? It took me quite some time to get into a business again, huh? So quite almost 3 years. So
Yeah, I can imagine, because we're at a young age that you were at the time, it could feel like disappointment and almost an identity kind of issue, in terms of that you
yeah,
failed it, then you feel as if you are a failure, rather than that it was just a business initiative that failed.
yeah, and it's not easy, because everyone around you is blaming you. Everyone around you is pointing a finger at you, and kind of like putting you down as well, even more. So no one is encouraging you, to be honest. Whilst when you were making it, everyone was around you and all of that, and I even had employees, and even my employees turned against me. So
How many employees did you have in
I
that
can't
business?
blame them. I can't blame them, because they also needed their money, and that was resolved in the end. But these are things that you have to face. We had around, let me check, 7, 8 in the Netherlands, and we had an entire team of developers in Nepal, another country. Yeah.
It was a huge team, Christelle.
Yeah.
You had a large growing team.
Yeah, I mean, we were literally putting food on people's table.
Yeah,
at that age, and yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah. How did you? I'm wondering, because usually I have this last question I ask my guests is, what's the one mindset change that led to your part of self-discovery? I would imagine that it was that time that you had quite a lot of changes in your mindset in terms of how you see business, how you see people even. What was it a kind of a pivotal time for you in terms of having a mindset change?
That period, but also the period whereby, like, let's say, identity crisis period, after the business went south, and I had to reinvent myself again. Find myself again. Yeah, that's when I really had the mindset shift.
Right.
Yeah, really, in that period was really a hard period.
What was the kind of mindset shift that you have specifically? The way you thought, or the way you associated, or the way you did business?
I think the way I perceived the world, business.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, the world, business, but also people. So all of that,
Tell me more. There is something good with that. I would love to listen to that.
Well, basically, when well, I wouldn't say when you're on top. Let's say on top of your game for you.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. When things are going well, then things seem to go easy, even though you have your challenges in between. But those are just minor issues. All right. But when you go from that point to a point of, let's say, when you go to like 100 to 0 in one go, that is basically when you see the true face of people, when you see how hard and cruel the world can be, and where you basically experience what business is truly about.
Right.
Yeah, so that is where you can really sense it, and I think that everyone needs failure, or
everyone needs that kind of a challenge to be able to experience, to be able to have a kind of a mindset that sort of builds you on to the next phase of your life, more or less. That's what you mean, right? You sort of need that kind of a challenge that helps build your skills for the next step of your life.
It does. It does prepare you, but you should also be aware of the fact that your entire psyche changes. So, when I got out, I was really confused, very scared, and I didn't trust anyone. Yeah. So that's really what happened, So, after such time, you need to, get back to yourself again, take a deep breath, take a time off from business, or continue. Other people just need to continue, but I needed to take time off from business and just really, get back to myself again, because a lot happened. And then from that moment on, I could slowly rebuild myself, regain my confidence, regain my, strength as well. And, mindset, because it's almost like you don't want to take risks anymore. You just want to be in a secure, safe place.
Right.
Afterwards, when you're out of that phase, you kind of flourish, and that is actually the moment where you start to see how valuable that experience was for you. And it has helped me a lot in, the business in Bourgeon as well. That's helped me a lot to identify certain things. Although I still take risks, but it's more calculated as well. And eventually I know that I want to stay in business. So you do anything and everything to achieve that, but within a certain, with certain rules and certain protocols for yourself almost.
That's when you develop those specific skills and rules for yourself, that that these are rules that are unbreakable rules. These are rules that you need to stick to if you have to succeed in what you're doing.
Indeed. And that is basically how I came in with, like, okay, we need to put a system in place. We need to document everything. We need to ensure that administration is in order. So we also need an advisor. So all of these things put together has helped us a lot. I was able to, get us an advisor that has been able to advise us on many, many fronts, especially when it comes to agriculture, because that's his field of expertise. So, I've been able to recruit quite some people, been able to get a supplier as well, like from Europe, whilst being in Europe, a supplier in Africa. So these are all sort of things that, this experience got me to do all of this and got me to understand how we should conduct ourselves in business and how we should build a business up, and what strategy to take, what strategy to adopt in order to become more successful in the long term. So yeah.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Christelle. This is I know that this conversation could go on for quite a while, for you sharing your wisdom and sharing your insights and all of the lessons that you have learned in your journey of entrepreneurship and business development. So thanks a lot for having me today. Do you have some parting words to my audience, and how can people reach you?
People can reach me on LinkedIn. I'm always open to network. So that is, my primary point of contact. And some words, I would say, if you're ambitious, if you're entrepreneurial, if you feel like, yes, I want to start a business and you don't know where to start, try to find a mentor, try to find an advisor, take someone that has a lot of experience, and, be a student. That's really what I can advise. And one of my mistakes as well, when I started a company, I didn't do that.
Right. That's one of the lessons you learn.
Yeah, that's one of the lessons. Take on a mentor in the beginning, and take on an advisor, someone who can advise you along the way in your business. And trust me, there are a lot of experienced individuals in this world who would want to do that.
And with those words, I want to thank you, Christelle, for joining me today on this interview.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Yeah. Thank you.